Since its inception, FullTiltPoker.net has been synonymous with poker excellence. We are the home to true champions like Phil Ivey, Chris Ferguson, Howard Lederer, and Eric Seidel. Just a few of our players who have proved their abilities by winning multiple rings, bracelets, and tens of millions of dollars. But in crowded tournament fields, these great players rarely have the opportunity to compete against one another and the rest of the poker elite. So we've wondered, how would these players fare if their only competitors were the other giants of the game? Well, we're going to find out. Today, we're proud to announce the Onyx Cup, an elite series of high-stakes tournaments that will pit the great against the great. The Onyx Cup tournament series will feature the biggest buy-ins in the history of tournament poker, from $100,000 to $300,000. That's right, $300,000 with an estimated prize pool of more than $30 million across the series. The series is open to all comers and will consist of 6 no-limit hold'em tournaments. 5 preliminary events have buy-ins of $100,000 to $300,000, while the grand finale will cost entrants $250,000 and will have another $1 million added to the prize pool. The top 3 finishers in each event will earn points toward the Onyx Cup leaderboard. At the end of the grand finale, the player who has acquired the most points will be crowned champion, presented with the Onyx Cup, receive a luxury sports car, and will be acknowledged as the player who conquered poker's elite. The tournaments will take place in various locations in the US, Europe, and Asia, and will be broadcast in more than 20 languages and 40 countries. Qualifying will take place exclusively at FullTiltPoker.net and will begin March 15th. So to discuss the Onyx Cup Series, I'm now joined by 5 members of Team Full Tilt, including Phil Ivey, who is widely considered the best poker player in the world. He has conquered every poker variation online and live, tournaments and cash games. Patrick Antonius has over $3 million in tournament winnings, but is best known as a cash game player. In these games, he has won millions more. Also joined by Gus Hansen, who has won numerous high buy-in tournaments. He has 3 WPT titles and 1 bracelet with total earnings of more than $9 million. Eric Seidel, who has been on a torrid run in the high-stakes world. In 2011 alone, he has 3 major tournament victories and has banked over $4 million. The young man they call Durr, Tom Dwan, who is a regular in the highest stakes games around. He is among the most creative and unpredictable players the game has ever seen, and he is so confident in his abilities that he created a challenge that offers a 7-figure bonus to any player who can beat him in a sustained matchup. Playing just 6 events in the Onyx Cup Series is going to cost you right around $1 million. So you guys think that's going to be enough to get the blood pumping?
Gets my blood pumping. I think it's more so, it's not just about the money in this event. It's more about playing with the caliber of players that we're going to be up against, playing against the best players. And a lot of these guys here at the table are my friends. And we're friendly, but we're also super competitive against each other. And there's gonna be a lot of pride that comes along with winning this type of event.
Is this a surprise to you guys, or do you think that with the way the game has been going and the way the stakes have been increasing, that this is it was a matter of time before a circuit like this was created?
I think it was just a matter of time. It's been too many years that poker's been running the same cycle, and just needed to step a little bit further.
Well, I do think it's a natural progression because there's so much money around and people are playing for such high stakes that it was inevitable, and I think that Full Tilt was really the only online organization that could pull this off because they have all the best players in the world.
Mm-hmm. Is there pressure? I mean, you guys are all considered some of the best in the world. Is there pressure that other people might not feel to perform, especially in a series like this, where you feel like maybe in order to maintain that reputation, I've got to make a strong showing?
I think there's always going to be a pressure in a big tournament like that, but that's the reason why at least these 4 players are sitting around the table, because they're able to handle that pressure in those situations. So I think a lot of tough competitors, they thrive in those situations. I mean, they perform their best when there's a lot of pressure on.
What are your feelings as far as the field is concerned? Do you guys think that the Onyx Cup Series is going to have the highest percentage of poker professionals that are going to register in perhaps the history of tournament poker?
I think there will definitely be less amateurs that want to, play for 100,000 when they hear that right away, but as the events start happening and people start seeing the fields and they see people that they want to play with and stuff, it could easily grow in a way like the World Series did. And you might have, you know, maybe in 2013 there will be 12 events, who knows.
How important is it for you guys to have a vehicle that is universally regarded as the means by which you guys are going to be able to assess and determine who the best in any particular year is? Who the best in the world is going to be for 2012, for 2013? Is that something that carries some weight that you guys are always looking to determine?
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious that Phil Ivey is #1, so I'm looking for second.
He loves to throw in the needles. He just can't help himself.
But, you know, right now people talk about the all-time tournament, you know, winnings list, and Eric obviously being first right now and Phil being second. Now we're giving people an opportunity to play 6 of these things in the course of 1 calendar year. And is it going to be fair to say that you guys are going to have a tremendous amount of respect for whoever wins the Onyx Cup?
There's never been a series of tournaments like this where it's just the elite of the elite. And so it's going to get everybody's blood flowing.
I would say there's never been a series of tournaments or even a tournament that's made you even consider or like add to your respect of someone all that much. Because one tournament, yeah, maybe someone played good, but in any one tournament, obviously, I think like the cards that you get and stuff are very, very relevant. Whereas in this, you're going to have a bunch of high buy-in events, and someone who does really well in all of those, it's going to be a new kind of thing.
We're going to have a tremendous amount of respect because we know that they had to grind and play really tough to beat us.
It's going to be virtually impossible for somebody to fluke their way into an Onyx Cup, isn't it? To win the series.
Oh, it will be a great player who wins it for sure.
So let me get right to it. Other than yourselves, who do you guys think is the favorite to win the very first Onyx Cup series?
I guess Eric will have to be the favorite now. I mean,
Please.
for sure you have to be the favorite.
I think the answer to the question is not a name. As you said, it's going to be a tough test to do well, compete well, play well, have stamina to make the right decisions for 6 tournaments in a row. So it doesn't necessarily have to be one specific name, but one who's capable, who has the skills when the cards are dealt at the poker table to play well throughout all events.
Do you think that it's one of the greatest tests, if not the greatest test in the history of poker?
Here you have 6 tournaments stacked with all the greatest players, so I think it's really going to be an excellent tournament. I'm really looking forward to it.
I am very excited about it. I think that what's unique about this event is that you've got players like Tom, like Patrick, like Gus, and Phil, who sometimes don't want to get on an airplane to play in these $10,000 buy-in events because it just doesn't make financial sense for them because they're playing for hundreds of thousands and millions every day. So this is a tournament big enough that will draw all the best players in the world. So I think that's incredibly exciting, and I think the whole poker world is going to be very excited about this.
Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us for this Q&A, and I want to thank those of you at home for joining us as well, and we look forward to seeing you all here in Las Vegas in May for the very first Onyx Cup Series event. Qualifying will take place exclusively at FullTiltPoker.net and will begin March 15th.